Hey everyone, and welcome to Television from the Multiverse, the DC Comics TV podcast from MailFuzz TV. I am Peter, that is Connor, and as what I just said would suggest, we talk about DC Comics TV shows. Normally, Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow, and other such shows. There's more on the way soon actually, so that list will inflate a little bit. But we're in the off-season. The shows are all off over the Christmas break, so what we've been doing is we've been going back and we've been doing episodes of Lois and Clark, Smallville, and doubling up episodes of Young Justice. Young Justice will actually stay on even when the off-season ends, because we want to get through that before the new season starts sometime in 2018. So
yeah, and if we get a firm date and it's sooner than we expect, we may have to double back up at some point.
Oh yeah, sure. Or triple up. I mean, if it ends up being quicker than,
yes,
what we expected.
We'll work it out.
That said, though, I'm feeling confident it won't be in the first 4 months, and therefore I think we'll be okay.
I mean, you say that, but we've got about 40-odd episodes. One a week takes us till, later in the year than you'd think.
Well, yeah, but we've been doubling up. We've got another couple of weeks of doubles, so we're going to be at episode 10 by the time we're going to singles.
Yeah, if it's summer, then we might have to double up at some point.
Yeah, but if it's later on though, then summer's doubles again, so we'll be fine.
Yeah, of course.
Fine. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about these shows. I don't think there was any news this week. I mean, I'd be surprised if there was. It was Christmas this week. In fact, this is going up in New Year's morning, so Happy New Year to everyone.
Yes, we planned this.
If you're watching or if listening on New Year's itself, and I won't blame you, I'm the sort of person who would watch this kind of thing in New Year's, because what else are you going to do?
Be honest though, this probably isn't going to help your hangover.
I don't know, I'm quite soothing, I think you'll find.
I don't know, I'd rather not listen to you when I got a headache.
So I won't make any sudden loud noises, just in case you don't have a hangover.
I cringe then, just at future me, knowing that I'm going to have a hangover and just going, oof, I hate you. Yeah,
we're recording this a little bit early. Normally we record this late on a Sunday, soon before it gets edited and goes up. And this is actually...
That's New Year's Eve, so I will be drunk.
That's New Year's Eve this time, so we're recording this a little bit earlier, a few days earlier. So if anything's happened before Sunday night that you think, oh, why have they not mentioned that? That's weird, I've not mentioned that big DC TV news item that happened in those few days. It's because it's the future for us right now, and we don't know about it.
Yes,
It'll
unfortunately.
be discussed the following episode. I highly doubt there will be any relevant news that hits just before New Year's.
I kind of hope there is, just because, but I agree.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So yeah, without further ado, I think we can get cracking into the shows themselves. So we'll do the same order as we've been doing. We will start with Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, episode 3 of season 1. It is called Neverending Battle. So of course, spoilers for each episode as we do these. So this is actually quite a memorable episode for me. I always remember this one being early on in the show.
Okay.
I think episode 2 I forget a bit more, but episode 3, because this is the episode where Lex Luthor, he's back. He wasn't in episode 2 at all.
Yeah.
And he is testing Superman. He is setting up a series of tests to see how powerful he is, which leads to every cheesy catchphrase and line related to Superman in some capacity.
I'm going to be honest. Mm-hmm. We've been generous with the previous 2 episodes, going, yeah, no, that one was all right, and it's a bit too far on this one for me.
What were the lines with the calling the Man of Steel?
Like the first one wasn't too bad, because you get one, you get one, and then you did 5.
I'm going to defend it a bit, because the moment when they blow up the building, because they lure Superman into a building and they blow it up, and it cuts back to him and he sees Superman walking out unscathed. He's like, Man of Steel. The way he delivers it, I like it.
Some of them are better than others. That one's not too bad. I'm thinking the faster than a speeding bullet one. I was like, was that faster than a speeding bullet? I'm not too sure it was.
I think it's supposed to be, but because they have to show us him pressing the button and then pressing it again, and then a bit of Superman in between, it feels like it lasts.
They make a point of showing us the time on the timer. It was 2.4 seconds or something.
You don't know what the distance is.
No, that's fair, I suppose.
You know, a bullet can take 2.4 seconds to travel somewhere. It just depends on the distance.
It can. Yeah, that's true. I assumed it was closer.
I thought it was
The other,
I thought it was the other end of the city, but I mean,
okay, maybe.
hence,
There's been clear. But the tall buildings in a single bound, stronger than a locomotive. Those ones were a bit.
those ones were a bit cheesy. But you know what? I'll give it to them to an extent because they're doing the whole trinity of them. They were getting them all out.
No. You get the ones in context. We've been leaning on the last few. Those ones were there just because. I'm not giving them it all the way.
I don't know. John Shea, because he does them all. He
does.
He delivers them. He can do it.
Just
and it feels powerful.
Too much in one episode.
He's got his bird killing pigeons and he's watching in delight because that's like me. I'm powerful.
Yeah, well, that stuff's fun.
Yeah, no, I like all that. But I like this episode a lot actually. This episode is it gets to. I think all the plots nicely work together and all sort of thematically serve the same kind of story, and they're all kind of about basically becoming themselves and realizing, like, you know, it's Jimmy standing up to Perry and saying, no, this is me. It's Clark having doubts about being Superman and maybe being scared by Lex Luthor to stop being Superman, but then saying, no, this is me, this is what I do, I'm not falling for this.
Yeah.
And Clark as well, with Lois, actually.
Absolutely.
Is the other one. So.
And also, you have glossed over the single most important part of the episode.
Oh, go on.
That would be the cape. We have been discussing the cape every episode.
Yes.
And they kind of brought up and they addressed it this time. They were like, no, I'm trying different capes. I wasn't happy with it, and we get another variation here.
Yes, unfortunately, the one they settle on is the one I don't like. But yeah,
I prefer this over the last one because the last one's over the shoulders and kind of clips on at the front. This one's over the shoulders but tucks in. I prefer this to that one.
This one's still kind of bulky in the shoulders, though, compared to normal.
It's bulky, but I think that's because it's underneath the. It's tucked in under, so it's kind of bulked up on the inside, though.
But the other suit was still here, though. I still remember shoulder pad moments in this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So I'm not giving you a complete pass on that. Like I say, though,
just saying they addressed it.
The suits go back and forth for a while, and then they settle on the one I don't like, which is annoying. But so you get all this going on. Lois is determined to get the story on Superman, and she screws Clark out the story. The first test Lex Luthor does is this: the English dude that hangs around with him. He's actually one of these three people that he's got helping him. He ends up sticking around for a long time. And they've got another guy. He's threatening to jump off a building, and then the English guy pushes the woman off the building, which is a really funny moment, I thought, actually.
Yeah.
It's just the way he's like, sorry, love. He just kind of pokes her with his cane.
Stick, yeah.
But, like, this is all going down, and Lois is like, oh, Clark, you rush back to the planet and you tell the story, and then she phones it in.
Yeah, because she goes, I'm going to phone it in and let them know. And she's like, no, they'll screw you out if you do that. Just go.
So she screws him over, and he is rightfully pissed at her. And it leads to just lots of funny little moments. I especially like her being guilty with her sister. Like, her sister comes by to drop off her lunch, and she's like, "You screw? I didn't screw him. I did screw him."
She's all right. Yeah, okay, fine. And then she's like, then Lucy's like, "Well, you should apologize to him." He's like, "No,
not in this millennia."
Yeah. That's too far. I'm not doing that.
Which, to be fair, at the time, that wasn't that long until you're in a new millennia.
It's like, I'll apologize. I'll apologize in a few years. He'll get over it.
In 6 years' time, I will apologize. Before then, no.
Yeah, that's a much more impressive statement, saying it now.
Yeah. Of course, yeah, because it's another 90, well, no, 80-something years now.
Yeah, come on. We're further in time than you think.
I know. But no, I think we always talk about the delivery of some of the actors here. I think Terry Hatcher, her Lois is just about perfect.
Yeah.
Her cheating him out the story, and then later on, thinking that he's got something, she comes over and says, "So what have we got?" It's like, there is no we. That's a direct quote from you. Like, just all the fun banter is all there. It's good. And of course, he eventually gets a prank on her.
Oh, yeah.
By sending her a map to Superman's ship based on Jimmy's idea. and instead of finding a ship, she finds what he's planted at the junkyard. She comes in looking absolutely filthy, and the only thing she found was a Godzilla in a red diaper with an S on its chest, which is a reference because earlier on Jimmy, like, Clark was like, oh, someone should teach her a lesson, and he says, oh, what, like Godzilla? Like, as if that's the only thing that can
Godzilla's the
match
only
her.
thing that can stop her.
Yeah, so it's a weird reference that Jimmy has to get. Jimmy has to know that.
Jimmy's
must
the
have been
only
Clark.
one there who's like, oh, I see what you've done.
Yeah,
I'm on to you.
yeah. I mean, Clark kind of admits it to Lois afterwards, but I just, in terms of the room,
Yeah, he gets the joke.
yeah, he gets the joke. Yeah, and it actually inspires him because all episode, Perry's giving him shit. Get me my soda. Fix
Donuts.
my.
Send them for donuts. That's you know.
Oh, so you said that as if you were
Perry's
correcting
got
me.
his-
Yes, that
no, no.
also donuts.
No, I'm just saying Perry has priorities.
Also donuts. The it was a foot massager. I think it was called Mr. Foot. I think that was the name of it.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Have you fixed Mr. Foot yet, Jimmy? And no, so all that. But he eventually, like, and I think what's interesting is when he goes and confronts Perry, like, Perry just listens to it, he leaves, and then Perry smells and says, ah, good for you, kid. Like he was waiting for him to stick up for himself.
Yeah, he was pushing him, going, how far can I go with this kid?
Yeah, which is obviously very different from Lex Luthor in Superman, because when Superman realizes Lex is behind all this, you know, he flies in and he shoots someone and grabs the bullet to prove how fast he is. He bends the sword and all the rest of it. It's like, this is how powerful I am. It's fine. Lex goes back to being really smarmy right away, but I love how terrified he looks for a split second when he thinks he's about to be shot.
Yeah, when because it close up on his face as the bullet's coming towards him, and he's just there, terrified.
It's funny because afterwards he's with his dude and he's saying, "Oh, there's a silver lining. We've found his weakness." And he's like, "Oh, what weakness, sir?" "Oh, he's got a kink in his armor. He cares about people. He's good." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's the only reason why you're alive. If he wasn't good, he would have just shot you." Like,
yeah. And sorry, this is the sort of Superman stories I love in general, where yeah, it's not kryptonite the weakness. Who cares about that? It's the exploiting his moral center. That's the best Superman stories are that.
Because he actually scares him out of, like, because there'll be more deaths, innocent deaths in the city if Superman's still around, and it sort of scares him into just not doing anything. And we find that it's been 3 days with no Superman sighting, and Lois kind of drops this whole facade about wanting a story. She's like, well, now I just want to talk to him and tell him, like, we need him. And she actually does, well, it doesn't matter if he doesn't save everyone. He can't save everyone. It's the idea of Superman. Like, she brings up those classic ideas of hope and inspiration. And, you know, whoever he can save is enough. Whatever he can do is enough.
It's why, even though this show isn't that much of a Superman show, you know, so much of it is the workplace drama, that, you know, there's a reason it's Lois and Clark first in the title.
Yeah.
It still gets Superman on a fundamental level, more so than a lot of other adaptations.
It does. And I mean, I think, honestly, more than anything else, it's just, like, I think knowing what they could do in TV in 1993 is why, like, the concept became this, as opposed to something that's a bit more 50-50. That you maybe would get now if they did a Superman show. Which is kind of sad that we're, like, I feel like now they've taken all the characters like this and they've said, no, movies only. They're not allowed to do TV shows. And it's really annoying because I feel like you could do a great Superman TV show now.
Yeah. Oh, that was the other bit. That was the new. I don't know if it was this week or last week. I don't think we spoke about it. Oh. They're not allowed They're not allowed Deathstroke again on Arrow.
Oh, really? They just had him like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. But now, not. They've been told no again now.
Okay.
Because movies. Ugh.
The fact that we've got a Flash TV show with the Flash in the movie.
Yeah. I think they can't get around that one though, because you know you can get rid of Deathstroke, but you can't get rid of the Flash in the Flash.
Or the Barry if they wanted to, but I mean
they could. That would be a mandate I'd be okay with. It's like, all right, you can have the Flash, but you've got to shift Barry out of the way. And I like Barry, but it'd be interesting.
It would force them to actually develop Wally. So
it would force them to have Wally exist in the show again.
Yes. So there'd be things there. There's a lot of funny stuff in this episode of Lois and Clark, though. The nut job who comes by claiming that he knows about Superman. And Lois gives him her lunch because she's so desperate to get a story and get a lead on Superman, or even just the stuff at the start. In fact, what was really sticking out to me about this opening is that it's a really fun little opening where there's like maintenance going on and like Jimmy's like dancing around people and he's getting stuff for Perry, and Lois and Clark are with a sketch artist like and drawing Superman, and he's like, she keeps comparing him to Clark. It's like, oh, it's not like mud brown eyes like Clark. It's more like, you know, deep into your soul eyes, and it's constantly comparing the two of them. It's just some fun stuff. But what I noticed about it is that it's like these little jokes, and then it fades to black, and it goes to the opening titles, and I'm like, Man, that's weird. You'd almost never get a show these days not having like some sort of cliffhanger or reveal or
Yeah,
here's the threat for this week before the title.
it kind of just focuses in on the drawing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's just very Kingdom Come Superman.
Yeah, yeah. But no.
Which is a point. That sketch artist is shit, because why are they describing him as that old? He's clearly graying in that drawing. Like, are they describing him with grey hair? Like what?
I wouldn't say they're describing him with grey hair. I think Lois might have described him as dignified and mature, or maybe, and he's interpreted it as
maybe
older.
Okay.
The way she was rabbiting on about how great he was, I feel like
maybe, but I feel like she should have gone. Hey, no, he was younger than that.
She was constantly correcting him. What about the scene where Superman has to dress into his outfit in the bathroom and puts his elbow through the door, scaring the shit out of the random guy who wanted to use the bathroom?
Probably quite literally.
Yeah, probably quite literally. That's a very good point. So I like this episode a lot, actually, because it deals with. It sets up the moral, because I think episode 2 it deals with a little bit of backstory ship, hints of Krypton. We don't know about Krypton yet, but hints of that sort of stuff. This episode it's like, no, now he exists in the world. Now we have to like write about him. You know, Lex Luthor being angry that all the newspapers are talking about him. He tries to phone Lois, and the message is like, hey, don't expect a call back unless you're about Superman.
Yeah, I really like that touch. He's annoyed because Lois has cancelled the interview.
Yeah.
And that was like the whole thing for her in episode 1 was like, no, I'm getting that interview with him. He doesn't give them to anyone.
Which is the classic reason why, at least at first, why Lex hates Superman. Because he was the most powerful person in the city, if not the planet. And now all of a sudden Superman's here. And he feels like this aliens came and taken his...
Yeah, he's inferior.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but no, and at the end he's like, oh, I've now got an opponent worthy, someone that I can take down, but I will win, and he's all determined.
I think it's interesting. You can apply it to Superman is often used as the ultimate immigrant, and one of the common immigration fears is they're taking our jobs. That's Lex is kind of what it is. Yeah. It's kind of more twisted toward the power angle, but that's his job the way he sees it. His job is to be the most powerful.
No, that's such an interesting way of looking at it. Yeah, that's kind of there. Actually, I tell you what comedy I really like. I like Lois thinking Clark's got a lead, so she follows him, because Clark's on the phone like, oh, keep him there, don't let him go, I need to see him, and he runs off. We find out he's actually just seeing his new landlord. He's getting an apartment.
Yeah.
And
it's an absolute shit heap.
It is a shit heap, but he fixes it up quite nicely with his super speed.
Yeah, it's a little too quickly for the landlord's liking.
Yeah, the landlord, he's trying to give him the new key, and he's like, oh, wrong one, and he goes out, and he comes back in, and it's like all furnished, and he's like, huh.
It's like, what's going on here?
And he's freaking out. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. But the bit I like, though, of course, is Lois comes bursting in, but it's just right as Clark blows some dust off of his hand, and obviously his breath's really strong, so it makes like a proper gust of wind that pushes the door back, and then Lois comes stumbling in with her hair all over the place. It's like, where is he? It's like, where's who? Where am I? My new apartment?
Yeah.
It's gold.
It's good stuff.
Their relationship is obviously the centre of the show, and I think even already I'm in love with every time they speak to her, every time she tries to, dupe him out of something, and he tries to one up her back, and all this stuff.
I think I forgot how antagonistic they are early on.
Yeah, and I actually think the first 3 episodes work as a sort of trilogy pilot, which is weird because I know the first one's a double anyway, but in the sense that episode 2 sets up some of the past, this one sets up the sort of, no, Superman's a symbol of hope and he's here, and this, Metropolis is his home.
It's all still his origin, essentially.
But on top of that, at the very end of this episode, it sort of like sets up the entire premise of the show, where she's like, we're not we, we'll never be we. And he's like, maybe we'll see about that, maybe someday. It's like, don't hold your breath. I mean, or no, how long can you hold your breath? And then she walks away, and we just sit on him with the camera, and he just goes, a very long time. Which he can, because he's Superman. And then it fades to black. And it's just like, that's what this show is. It's the will they, won't they. It's just them getting together eventually. That's what it is. So that the final moment, it feels like almost at the end of a long 4-hour pilot, where it's like, this is the mission statement of this show.
It does, definitely.
So I like that. I like that it kind of forms a little trilogy at the start. But no, I like this episode a lot.
Yeah, me too. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it feels very Superman. Lex is great. Lois is great. Cat's just kind of comic relief, but she's usually amusing when she's around. So I like all that stuff. So I guess we'll move on to something that is not as good typically. Smallville.
That is fair to say. Yeah.
A bit of Smallville. Smallville season 1, episode 3. It's called Hothead. So we've got a fire villain, of course, because we're going to have one of those soon, early in the season.
All these shows do them, don't they?
This one's particularly notorious though for cycling through a lot of the obvious ones in the first 10 episodes.
Yeah, in a way though, I don't. It's annoying for here, but it's like, well, we can get them over and done with.
I don't know. I feel like that's workaround logic. What I will say about this is I don't think I have as many hot takes as I did in the first 2 episodes.
Oh, this is definitely better. It's not good, but it's better.
Also, did you like the pun there with the hot take?
I intentionally brushed over it.
Yeah. So the plot of this one is that the high school football coach, who's an actor I now recognise from Pitch, he was the coach or the manager on Pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still an older man here, but he's much older in Pitch because this was like 15 years ago. So
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so he is his sauna. He's got like kryptonite rocks in his sauna, which have given him heat powers.
Why not?
Or fire powers, I should be more specific. And he is, he's literally a hothead. That's what the title is referring to. He is so determined for his team to win. He cares so much about. It's almost a commentary on how much like high school football is like put on a pedestal and seen as this important thing, where he cares so much that he's willing to doctor their grades so they can play and everything else. And he'll and it obviously gets more psychotic as the episode goes on, and he wants to kill anyone who threatens to expose what he's done or stop his team from winning. That's his thing. And Clark's whole story, of course, is that he is asked by him to play in the team because he gets caught catching a ball, of all things, and
throwing one.
And throwing one, because one of the football players tries to assassinate Chloe with a ball. It's not really assassination time. That's what she calls it.
He just throws it at her because he doesn't like her, and she extremely over exaggerates.
So this episode is kind of picking up in that thing we got a little bit of in the first one that mentioned that Clark wants to play football. Jonathan doesn't want him to for reasons of safety, and you might kill everyone on the field. And Clark's like, you know what, I'm going to do it anyway, and just does it. And so Jonathan looks disapprovingly at him. There's a couple of nice lines of dialogue that I do appreciate. I like Jonathan saying, you're here for more important things than to play football. Now, admittedly, they're basically stealing that from the movie, but still, all points.
Yeah, because this Jonathan's still good, so
yeah, no,
it's fine. It doesn't come off as cheap when he's delivering it, is the point.
Yep. Like you say, it's better than the first 2. It's not as laughably bad, even though it's still painfully bad in a generic way. It's
generic and standard, but it's not actively bad in most of it.
That said, the source music is still
extreme. Yep.
See when it came back after the titles and that Gorillaz song started playing, I'm like, I've not heard that. So that was everywhere at that time period.
Everywhere. Things I'm noticing is like I'm going, oh man, I love this song. I've not heard this in about a decade, but I love this song.
I feel
the Sum 41 track later as well.
Yeah, there's a Sum 41 track later on, which I also recognised. It makes me roll my eyes though that it's just all these like mainstream songs of the time period. Like, there's no I love it when a show will introduce me to a lot of music because it'll pick a lot of I feel like Mr. Robot's a good example of this recently, where they'll pick some really cool obscure things and I'll be, oh man, I like that, and I'll seek it out.
Fair, Supergirl does a lot of the the source music stuff, especially in the first season. It did.
Season 1, yeah, not as much now, and definitely never as much as this.
No, never as much as this. But I mean, a lot compared to the other shows that we're kind of watching at the minute. Yeah. But I feel like that tends to pick things that I'm not as familiar with. Because
I remember in season 1, in Supergirl, there was a cover by Lissy, and the song was famous, but that cover wasn't. And it was like, oh, what's this?
Yeah, it was good.
And I'm like,
I remember that.
I'm curious about this now. I'm going to look that up. Twin Peaks is another example. I mean, obviously Lynch has extravagant taste, so he tends to dig deep. But no, there's a lot of stuff that I like a couple of these bands. I never heard of these people, and now I like them.
There was some that I was familiar with, and some that I wasn't.
Whereas Smallville is basically just the playlist that was playing on the main MTV channel at the time.
It is. And some of that, I'm like, yeah, I've not. I think I'd have been annoyed at the time.
Now it's been a while. Now
it's been so long since I've heard them. I'm like, oh yeah, I like this song, but that doesn't excuse them for picking it when they did.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Because I think that now if you use any of these songs, it's kind of like how at the start of Iron Man 3 they have the Blue song.
Yeah.
It's the point is saying, hey, this is 1999. Like, it's telling you the time period. That's why you use it now. Using it at the time was just kind of...
I mean, I guess they're telling us it's 2001.
But it was made in 2001. It doesn't need to tell us that.
I'm with you. They're just making it abundantly clear.
Okay.
Yeah. I also, you mentioned cast members that you recognise. The principal, of course, is now actually on Legends of Tomorrow.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, he's the head of the.
He's the director of the Time Bureau. I also know him from iZombie. He was the one of the police chiefs or detectives.
You say that as if I didn't watch iZombie.
Yeah. I'm just trying. Do you remember him?
I do. Yeah. I've seen his face around a lot. Yeah, so I didn't recognize him.
But I was like, oh, I forgot here. He just clearly he's just like, well, I'm Canadian. I'm staying here.
So Lana's plot in this one is she decides, because obviously one of Clark's reasons for wanting to even be in the team is he wants to impress Lana because she's a cheerleader. Lana decides she wants to give up cheerleading in this episode and wants to make it on her own, so she goes and gets a job at the coffee shop. Do you know what's funny about this plot? Is at the end of the episode she gets fired because she's terrible at it and she's breaking dishes. I'll be honest, I actually give a little smirk at one joke. When Lex and Clark get their orders back, and he's got cream all over it, because he mentioned cappuccino before, we heard that.
Yeah, he's like, I'll just give me my cappuccino in a styrofoam cup.
She comes back with a proper mug. There's cream in the top of it, and Clark's just like, "Is that what you ordered?" Not even close. That was an okay little joke. That was a fun little joke.
And I'm glad she got fired, because at this point, she was like, I hold the record for most stuff broken. I'm like, Lana, you're shit at this. How are you keeping this job? And thankfully, she didn't.
She's better at that than acting, though.
Yes. Speaking of atrocious acting, the worst moment of the episode is undoubtedly the final moment. The scream.
Oh yeah, we're getting there. Because I was bringing up the Lana thing, because she gets fired, she's trying to do the whole thing, and eventually at the end of the episode they both meet randomly on the field, the football field, even though he's quit the team and she's not a cheerleader anymore. They're both there just cause
being wistful about what they could have had.
Exactly. And she's like, sometimes you just want to scream, or he says that, he's like, why don't we? He's like, you can't be serious. I am serious, let's do it then. Alright, 3, 2, 1, and then it just ends with them just screaming into the
looking
sky.
up, and it's like, oh, this is awful, and it's awful screaming.
This is where you could tell Goff and Miller, the creators of this show, really wanted this to be Dawson's Creek mixed with like a superhero show.
Yeah, definitely.
This is like them emulating Dawson's Creek, and Dawson's Creek did this better, arguably. So
yeah,
that's the thing. Yeah, Lana, I mean, she doesn't have the standout monologue this week that made me cringe to hell and back.
No, it's not there, is it?
Because she just doesn't have it. But I've still kind of been like whenever she was like talking to her aunt and she was like, "Oh, I want to do this on my own," and like just all these things, I'm like, I don't buy this.
Yeah, I want to save money so I can go traveling in the summer. I'm like, you're allowed to just go traveling on your own over summer at that age?
Yeah, because keep in mind, season 4 they're still in high school, so they're like freshmen. And they're freshmen because in the first episode it's the freshman who becomes a scarecrow, right?
Yeah,
they're freshmen. They've got another 3 years of high school after this. They are not old enough to go traveling on their own.
That's why I was like, what? and you're okay with this responsible aunt who's your legal guardian?
She hates her guts though. She gets burdened with her when her parents get killed.
That's true. That is true.
So that's what's happening there. Yeah, and Lex has a subplot. And Lionel's back in this episode. He pops up because he wants Lex to cut 20% of the workforce at the plant. He refuses, tells the stooges that are here to piss off. So Lionel shows up and says, "I'll fence you for it."
I love that Lionel bases his business decisions on fencing with his son.
Do you know what? John Glover,
he sells it.
He's a good actor. This is a stupidly written scene, but he is a good actor. Michael Roosevelt not bad either, but that's the only reason why this is not the worst thing ever.
It should be atrocious, but it's actually not that bad, this stuff.
And then Lex is inspired by Clark and Lana, because he joined the team anyway, and she got a job anyway. So he's going to find a way to cut this budget elsewhere, and he does. And then Lionel's pissed. And, you know, Lex brings up a good point. Like, hey, this is still saving the money with none of the bad PR. This is good.
Yeah, I actually quite like this bit. You know, like I like that Lex is smarmy. He's like, no, you're just annoyed because I thought of it and you didn't. Screw you.
That said, the earlier scene with the Stooges, when he told them to get out, it did have that evil music playing the entire time.
It did, and I don't understand why, especially for that scene, because he wasn't being evil. Lex was going, no, I'm not cutting 20%.
He was actively trying to be a good person in that scene.
He was actively going, no, I'm giving out more jobs to this town.
Yeah, it made zero sense in that scene. But
But I did like the stuff with him and Lionel, not gonna lie.
Yeah, it was okay. I love it. I mean, it was fine. The better actors.
I think those are two of the best actors on the show, so it helps a lot.
Yeah. So back to Clark's plot, because obviously you get Jonathan.
That happened
against everything, and Clark is whining. He's like, "Oh, he doesn't trust me," and blah 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 blah. And he's running up and down the field. He gets really impressive, of course, and Jonathan's like pissed because he's using his powers on the field. He's like, "Ugh,
yeah, you cheating prick."
And he was also
I raised you better than this.
He was one of the best football players, of course, in the school ever. So he's just offended by this.
Yeah, it's like, no, I did it all with hard work and natural. Then and you're just running.
And of course, Chloe actually has plot in this because she actually starts investigating. Because obviously the principal almost gets killed. Clark saves him, but he's almost burned to death. And so Chloe starts like investigating. She sees the coach use his powers. Sees she exposes the students who were cheating, which sort of gets the plot going. So she actually has a plot, which is nice, because in the last couple of episodes she was kind of tangential. Admittedly, Pete is still just kind of there with nothing to do.
He's on the football team, so he's there for him to say to Jonathan that he doesn't know where Clark is.
Yes, that's basically his purpose in this episode.
That's basically the only moment with him I really remember. And early on to Chloe, it's like, hey, I like football.
Yeah, he's just kind of there, yeah. Which is, and I think that's more notable, because I was starting to feel that way about Chloe, but Chloe had a decent little plot in this episode, more so.
She was proactive, she was helping.
And I know just from memory that in the future she has a lot more to do.
Yeah.
Pete now, though, after 3 episodes, he's really had nothing.
I remember one episode with Pete. I think I think he gets some powers at some point, maybe?
Possibly. I remember, I mean, I won't get into too many spoilers, but they do something with them, I think, in season 2 to try and make him feel more important, which slightly works, but it doesn't have much lasting effect. Yeah. There's a reason why he just gets written out of the show at the end of season 3.
Yeah.
So,
to be fair, I don't think Whitney even lasts that long.
Oh no, Whitney's a season 1 character only. He's gone.
Yes, I recall, and I'm like, oh, good. Just because he's so bland.
He is bland.
Like, we say Pete does nothing. At least he has a character. At least, he says things.
I don't know. Whitney's the protective boyfriend douchebag. He's got a bit of character there. Let's not completely rule him out.
No, that's a cliche, not a character.
Yeah, he's just kind of around this episode. He's there to be Lana's boyfriend.
He doesn't do anything.
Now, to be fair, though, he had a lot more plot in the last 2, so I can't really fault them. They can't use everyone every episode. I think Pete's just really noticeable because it's been 3 in a row where he's had nothing but standing there. He's just the person to talk to for the other characters. That's all he's been.
He is, yeah.
So, hey. The coach locks Clark when Clark confronts him. And with the kryptonite, which, by the way, I'm already sick of them calling it Meteor Rock. Like, can we get to the point where we know this is kryptonite?
Oh, I don't think that's ages.
I think it's the end of the season. Maybe even next season.
I think it's next season.
Maybe next season.
If anything, it could be longer.
I think it may not.
Does
be
it happen before this? That's what I'm thinking. That's all the stuff with the caves.
Yeah, but I
That's
feel like
season 4, isn't it?
Oh, no, it's season 2. Christopher Reeve's in season 2, yeah.
I thought that was later than that. Okay.
He definitely finds out about Krypton in season 2, but I can't remember if he gets to Kryptonite before then. It doesn't make sense that he would, but for some reason in my head I feel like he might have done. I don't know why.
No, I don't think so. I'm also bored of the effect of, on his veins on his wrist.
Oh yeah, I'm sick of that already. It's only episode 3.
I forgot about that. I quite like the sound, though. I'm not going to lie. The sound the Kryptonite makes. The sheen.
Oh, sure. That's fine.
I like that.
Oh, yeah, I can't fault it. It's fine.
That's just taste, though.
Yeah. Yeah, the only other thing I've really got to say about the plot is, like, there's just like some of the effects, like when he walks through the fire towards the
Yeah,
couch.
yeah. It's particularly weird because you can see real fire where the
Yeah,
so it's more jarring. It's the same thing we said with the explosion for the car last episode, where he saves Whitney, where the actual fire and explosion stuff, oh, it's real, so it looks good.
yeah,
And then the CG is more noticeable because it sticks out against it.
exactly. I guess that's the episode. I don't have a whole lot more to add on it.
No, me either. I'm trying to think if there anything interesting, but there wasn't.
There really wasn't. Like I was really almost concerned actually that we might actually have to put another episode or something onto these shows if Smallville keeps getting less and less interesting to talk about.
I feel like it's got to do something offensively bad soon, though.
Oh yeah, I'm hoping for it. We'll find out.
These episodes, it's better, but it's more boring.
Arguably, yeah. I feel like
It's like I'm there. It's just on. I'm not real. I don't really care. Whereas when it does something really bad, I get angry. I get annoyed. I go, what the hell's this? And that's more entertaining in its own fashion.
Well, I guess we'll move on, shall we?
Yes, to brighter and better things.
Well, it is brighter. It's an animated show, so
Exactly.
so that's the thing. So we are going to talk about Young Justice. We've got 2 episodes to talk about, as we've been doing, and this is going to be episodes 5 and 6. Episode 5 is called Schooled, and episode 6 is called Infiltrator. So, episode 5, Schooled. This is Superboy being a prick.
Yep.
And just being angry all the time, not accepting training. Black Canary being like, hey, I'm here to help you train. Like, I'll be here. And he's just an asshole about it. Like, you said Miss Martian's annoying at first. I feel like Superboy's been way more annoying.
No, I forgot Superboy's like this for a bit.
Yeah.
It's mostly this. See, he's not as bad in the other episodes because it's small doses, so you don't really notice it. Whereas, Miss Martian's such a personality that it's more noticeable even when there's not as much as her. Whereas, this is a Superboy episode, so it's really just in your face.
But anyway, so the plot of this one is they're actually given a mission. The Justice League have defeated Amazo. And unfortunately, they are suspecting that whoever built them, turns out to be Ivo, is, going to try and get them back, the pieces. So they've got them in 2 trucks. They've got some 4 decoy trucks, but they want the Titans. Well, they're not even called that in this show, but that's just what I'm calling them. They've got the Titans split into 2 teams to sort of, in civvies and on motorbikes and whatnot, to protect the 2 real trucks. So they're on escort duty, as it were. And sure enough, we get sort of robot monkeys showing up and get into the middle of things. We have some action sequences, which is actually one thing I do want to praise about this show is I feel like still I'm enjoying the action sequences. Which
I feel like they're inventive.
They're inventive. I feel like it's usually an impressive use of everyone's powers. Everyone usually gets something to do, and I think it's well animated, and to the point where I usually feel like the build up to it, like I feel like there's going to be something big going down, like the clock's ticking to things happening. It always feels like it's building. So I want to credit that. I want to credit that where credit's due. So yeah,
I was going to talk about on that. I think it's unfair to mention the good fight scenes without talking about the inevitable fight with Amazo.
Oh, of course, yeah. When everyone kind of gets in on it, and
everyone gets in on it. Amazo's switching between different power sets. It gets pretty inventive.
Yeah, because of course Amazo has basically been absorbing the powers of all the people it's fought. So that's all the Justice League. So he's got Heat Vision, he's got Super Breath, he's got Canary Cry, he's got all these different things, and it's a super fun fight. It's really big. Obviously, there's a tease of Artemis during this fight. You get the Arrow coming in to save Kid Flash.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. And at the end, of course, they compare it to Green Arrow's Arrow, and like, oh, it's Speedy. Must be him. He's helping us.
Yes. But of course, we know he's all red.
Well, not until next episode yet.
No. Was he not red earlier on, though? Like,
oh, he's always been red, but I mean...
Yeah, but was his arrows not?
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's not like they stop and go, hey, it's not red. Like...
No, I know.
So, like, they have no other information other than us, or vice versa, to second guess that.
No, they don't know. But I'm going to say, we kind of, as an audience, kind of know that it's not him.
Oh, sure, but they also knew it was red, so that's not like...
Yeah, they just overlook it in their excitement.
Yeah. So, but no, I think obviously the main thing is Superboy's kind of arc in the show. And it's setting some stuff up that's serialized, where... And we've had this before, actually. Superman's kind of acted weird around him. At the start, there's this incident on the bridge in Metropolis, and Batman's going to go down, but Superman swoops in first. And Superboy ends up jumping on, and he causes some trouble. He doesn't, but he could have endangered the bridge. He could have endangered the lives of the people on it.
Just because he doesn't really think it through. He just did it.
He just jumps in. And to be fair, like, even in the next episode, he still kind of has that attitude. He's still learning. He's still not quite... He's not just magically better at it the next episode. He's still jumping in a little bit head first, which he should not be doing. And, Batman's like, hey, Clark, we need to talk. We need to talk about this son of yours. I mean,
and this is something I'd kind of forgotten that this show is. Like, it's called Young Justice, and obviously there are folks, but it is a DC show. Like, we have moments with just Batman and Superman. They're relevant to our group, of course, but no, this feels real.
Oh, no, absolutely, yeah. It feels like the world's happening, it's thriving around them. It's not just them. It
doesn't just stop still when we're not just for our characters. It's everything else is still going around them.
And I think Superman's reaction here is quite interesting because as soon as Batman says you have to maybe like help him and give him some sort of father figure, Superman just runs basically. He's just like, no, I'm going.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not his father.
Yeah, I'll take my pie to go. And it's like, this is interesting because it's very non-Superman typically.
Yeah,
he usually tries to be the father figure and help when he can.
He does, yeah.
But he's being very awkward around him, and obviously I feel like it's building to something, and we'll see kind of what the resolution is fairly soon, I imagine.
Yeah, has to be.
But
I mean, that said, this show has shown willingness to take its time. Like, we got the hint of Artemis in this episode 5, and we're only just getting a hint of the next team member.
Yeah, but we get our next episode, so it's...
We do, but given that, most cartoons especially, okay, we'll have the whole team, episode 1. This really built to it.
Oh, sure. But the reason why I say it soon is it's not because it's a cartoon and we're going to get it soon. It's soon because I feel like in the drama of the season, it feels like more of a midpoint thing than a season finale thing.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So I don't think it's going to be a long wait. I mean,
no.
And by that I mean within maybe 6 episodes, not like next episode.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So no, it's got that, and it's him being headstrong, and he kind of learns to be a little bit humble at the end, and like, okay, Black Canary, okay, train me, let's do that. But no, I had a lot of fun in the fights. Some fun moments. Miss Martian having like extra arms at one point, and then
scaring everyone. Yeah,
scaring Kid Flash, where Kid Flash turns around top of the truck
and the driver, true.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the driver. I expect the driver to be scared, but Kid Flash is funnier.
It is funnier, and she's scared because he's like, what? She's like, what?
She gets scared back. Yeah. It's an entertaining little plot. Robin's got his fancy bike that kind of splits in two, and the back wheel turns into a drone because of course it does.
Why not?
He's doing all his fancy shenanigans.
He has his sticks.
Yeah, his sticks. You're right. Yeah. So
first time we've seen him, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Just something I noticed in the voice cast. Vanessa Marshall is the one voicing Black Canary, and I didn't know her at the time when I watched this then, but now I know her from Rebels. She's one of the main characters on that. I'm like, I heard her and I was instantly like, oh, I know who that is.
I shall take your word for it, because I don't watch Rebels.
No, that's fine. I mean, on something that you can, relate to, I think Nolan North's done a really interesting job with Superboy and Superman sounding slightly different, even though, he's a clone, but they're not exact.
Yeah. They both suffer from sounding like Nathan Drake, but that's just because I know Nolan North's voice.
Well, yeah, but there are distinctions between the two at least. He's putting an effort in.
Yeah, I can just hear it though, and like he's one of those voices in video games that I'm just like so
used to.
Like I just always pick up his voice. The exception being The Last of Us, where he played a character that was so different to anything he's ever played. The accent and everything was just completely different. But yeah, so no, I thought episode 5 was really solid.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's getting better as it goes, which is a great thing to say because it started off so strong. Superboy did annoy me a little bit in this episode. He was just being aggressive as hell.
But I think the redeeming factor is he everyone else is aware that he's annoying.
Mm.
So they're not going. They're not pretending that he's fine. It's there is this awareness at least.
Yeah. So moving on to episode 6, this is where I feel like it's really ballooning out into the world a little bit, because we actually get a scene at the start with Roy, and he's changed his suit a little bit. He's a bit more grown up. I was thinking he was going to be calling himself Arsenal, but he's saying Red Hood, which actually made me chuckle because
Red Arrow.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Red Arrow, not Red Hood. You know what I meant.
Very different.
Yeah, Red Arrow. But that made me chuckle because I'm thinking of Emmy in the comics right now, who keeps saying, "Call me Red Arrow," and no one's doing it. And it was kind of the same thing in this.
The same joke, yeah.
Yeah, but he saves this scientist, this computer wizard.
Yeah, I love this opening sequence. It's so sleek as this, this stealth sequence, and then obviously kind of just all hell breaks loose. I really like it.
No, I love all that. I love zip lining out of the scene, and then like her complaining about the boat and whatnot. Like the fact that she's giving him attitude as he's saving her.
What's this? An arrow boat? I call it a rental.
Yeah, the rental has a really fancy GPS computer though, with showing the villains on it.
Look, he's still clearly got a lot of money left over from Ollie.
Okay, all right, I'm just saying. If it's a rental, that just feels a bit far-fetched.
No, I didn't. No, it wasn't showing all the villains. I didn't think. I think it was showing all the place where he's planted the bombs.
Because a rental would equally have that.
Well, no, he's that the bombs that he has planted have a GPS on them, and he's activating it from this screen. He's going, okay, all these GPS signals. That's how he's activating it. It's linked to the GPS.
Yeah, but the rental boat wouldn't, like, he'd still have to install that himself and do it.
Sure, installed the program, but it's not that complicated. What you're saying, it's not like it's tracking all these villains randomly.
Okay, I'm just saying, it's a rental, and then he's got his bomb GPS locations all showing up, and then he activates the bomb with a button on the boat.
They don't need to know they're bombs. So all it is it's the GPS with the Find My Device button. That's all he's done. He's triggered the bomb. So when he clicks the Find My Device, it goes, oh, there's my device. Bang. Solved it.
No. So basically, the scientist ends up with the Justice League sending Teen Titans to protect him. Obviously, there's that fun scene though where Roy comes into the mountain and he sees everyone and he's like, "Who's this?" Because they've introduced to Artemis, this new archer, the new protege who's in green, and like he's like, "Oh, you replaced me so quick," and Oliver's trying to defend himself and all the rest of it. I like how actually, we get this whole thing before we even build up to this scene where they're all going to the beach, but Wally's starting school that day, his sophomore year. So he's
a bit older, so he has to go to school.
Yeah, so he's miserable, and everyone else is at the beach having fun, and it intercuts between all these, and it's usually funny. Like one will throw a ball when they're playing volleyball, and then it'll hit he'll be in gym class, and he'll get a ball in the face, and there's the whole thing. But he shows up with his surfboard and his various beach.
He's in his beach shorts and stuff, and he just runs in and trips, and then looks up, and you got Batman, and everyone stood there.
I don't think I was expecting a beach ball bouncing past Batman in this episode, but it was entertaining. But he keeps just like, he's like, "Oh, who's this new archer? Like, who are you?" He's like, he's really against her the whole time. Everyone else is trying to be nice, and he's like, "No." At the end of the scene, after Red Arrow leaves, and Artemis says something or other, and I can't remember what it is, but the scene ends with Wally just shouting, "Who are you?"
Yeah. Oh, Wally cracks me up in this one.
Who are you? Oh, great. No, I mean, that's the thing though. Despite the fact that this is setting up a lot of darker elements, because it's the League of Shadows that are after this scientist, and she built this thing for these nanobots that go in and like steal information, but it also destroys the buildings that they go into. So it's dangerous as well.
Tech.
And they're protecting her, and they're expecting like assassins to show up, so they're doing that. So Miss Martian has linked them all telepathically. They're all speaking in their heads, which leads to numerous amusing moments where someone will think something, and someone else will be like, "Hey, we can hear you." It happens when Artemis is eyeing up Superboy. Apparently, both the female characters are into Superboy.
He's this classic big, strong, handsome man, isn't he? Essentially,
come on. You got Dick and Wally. Like, that's all you need.
Dick's about 11.
So, yeah, so you got that. Obviously, there's some fun stuff with Kid Flash, but later on, he's like, no, it wasn't your fault, Miss Martian. You were being distracted by her. He keeps blaming everything on Artemis.
Yeah.
And then he's like, and besides, you give me mouth to mouth. And he says that in his head. He's like, we can hear you, Wally.
I love the different reactions to that joke as well. Like, sometimes it'll be like then where Holly's like, oh, yeah, feel about that. And other times when, where Artemis has that bit with that, and they're all like, we can hear you. She's like, I know, I don't care.
Yeah, nah. Every time it happens, it's funny. I feel like the joke could have played out, but somehow it's funny every time it happens, so I'm okay with it. But yeah, so of course, the villains show up and get into fights. There's a lot of fun fighting. They kind of separate. They all fight together. There's a good moment with Miss Martian decoys. But we have, correct me if I'm wrong here, but this is Cheshire. We're
Cheshire, yeah.
Cheshire, if you want to pronounce it that way. I'll say Cheshire.
But I mean, that's how I pronounce it, as in Cheshire Cat, so...
I would say Cheshire Cat, but...
you'd be wrong to say it that way.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I've always said it that way. What do you want from me?
To learn when you are informed of the correct way to pronounce something.
No, piss off. So... Yeah, so we got her, and we set up there's a connection between her and Artemis, and Artemis lets her go, based on this threat. Oh, would your new teammates like it if they find out everything about you? And she runs off. Tell me, do you happen to know the name of the guy with the retractable fist? Because
Hook.
Is his name just Hook?
Yes.
Okay. Are you familiar with some of the comics, or do you just know that?
No, that's just what I know from this.
Okay.
I was familiar with Black Spider, though.
Sorry?
The other one, the one in purple, who has the webby goo stuff.
Totally not ripping off Spider-Man, yes.
Yeah, that's Black Spider.
Yes. But, I mean, there's a reason why he doesn't get used that often.
Yeah.
Because it's just Spider-Man.
I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying that they were there as well.
Oh, they are there as well. But
yeah.
I feel like Hookman, I know he's just Hook, but I'm going to call him Hookman because it's funnier.
It is.
Hookman... I think has some good moments with them team fighting them, and I think obviously Cheshire gets a lot of good moments as well. But there's all the drama when it pulls up. But I like how it separates. Obviously, Superboy and Robin go off to like deal with the situation at Wayne Tech because the nanites are getting in there to steal stuff and blow the thing up.
Yeah.
But it's full of people, so Robin has to try and save everyone, which he does so by putting in the algorithm that the scientists came up with into. The cash register, which is connected to the mainframe in the cafeteria. That's how he does it. I like how Robin has his own override for Wayne security.
Yeah, it makes sense.
That's a nice touch. I like that. I like that quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I thought again, all the action was really good. All the stealth, all the villains sneaking up on them.
It's got a real atmosphere to it. This stuff at night, the stealth stuff, which could fall flat, but it really doesn't.
It has atmosphere. I think that's a good way of putting it. And I think. Yeah, so you get all the characters, and they all have something to do. It doesn't really feel like it wastes any of them.
Yeah,
I think Superboy gets the least amount to do, but he was such the focus of the last episode. I think that's fine. Yeah,
it feels balanced overall.
Yeah, give him the backseat. So obviously, we'll come back to this Artemis stuff, but.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. This is the first time, because we were watching them in twos. This is the first time they haven't felt linked. Last week they were definitely linked on how they're building up the team. Whereas here it's like, okay, no, they're two separate. One's a Superboy episode and one's this other episode. Yeah. A bit more distinct than usual.
Yeah, I liked as well when they're trying to convince Red Arrow to stay in the team. Aqualad's like, hey, we want you as well. And there's no quota on archers. We can have two. It's fine.
Yeah, and then Wally's like, and if there was a quota, well, we know who we'd pick.
Wally's so falling for Artemis down the road.
Yeah.
It's so happening. It's going to be exactly like Xander and Cordelia from the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, I thought you'd forgotten.
Never.
Ah, man. Just a little mention on the voice cast. We had a little Teen Titans reunion from the Teen Titans show. The guy who plays who does Aqualad, he was Cyborg, and then the programmer woman that was Tara Strong, who of course was Raven.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I'm familiar with Tara Strong, of course.
Yeah.
Does many a voice. Harley Quinn quite often.
She has got a lot of range, though.
She does. I liked how bratty she was in this. Like she just kept fighting with the Titans, and every opportunity she was complaining.
Yeah,
she was
they're like, she's like, oh, you know, I was like, hey, get down, you know, come on, keep cover. She's like, yeah, I thought you were gonna protect me.
Yeah.
This is what you're here for. Let me get on with it.
She just belittles him at every chance she gets. It made for an entertaining rescue.
And the bit where they're all, you know, where they're all bickering in the thoughts, and she's like, ugh, why am I here? Why am I hearing this?
Why teenagers? Why couldn't I have the Justice League? Like, yeah.
No, I don't blame her.
Obviously, see at the end, Red Arrow is aware of Artemis. It's like, hey, for some reason the Justice League trusts you, so you know what? I'm going to let it go. But I'm watching you. If you hurt my friends,
like, I know you're not really Green Arrow's niece. We both know that, but fine for now.
Yeah. So setting up some big stuff for the future. Of course, we find out that Raz and the League were working for the Light again. This ominous villainous group that we keep hearing about. So, you know, again, setting up big stuff for the future. It had some good character stuff,
and we have our tease as well that, you know, they've got someone on the inside.
Yeah, that's actually the very final line. We have someone inside. Now, the obvious thing to think is Artemis, given everything that's happened in this episode.
I mean, I think there's two options in general. There's Artemis like that, and then there's, I think, Superboy as well as a fair option, given that, you know, he came where he's come from. I think those are the two clear, obvious choices.
If I was to guess right now, because I don't think anyone's going to turn out to be an outright villain, where they're going to leave the team or anything like that. I feel like someone won't know they're technically leaking something to someone.
It's the usual, not cop out, but twist for these things.
Either there's a sleeper agent that can be turned on. If that's the case, it's probably more likely to be Superboy, given that he was in the test tube and all the rest of it. And, but if it's you know, Artemis, maybe it's like
I mean, given that Artemis' history with Cheshire, maybe she's being blackmailed.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But no, so I'm curious. But like I say, world building, setting up future plots. We've still got the Light thing going on, so I'm liking what it's doing. I'm actually really enjoying having like a sort of just DC universe show to.
It's really good, isn't it?
It's quite good. I'm into it. So that's good stuff. So that kind of wraps up this week's show.
Yeah.
TV from the Multiverse, episode 13? 12? 13?
Do you want me to check quickly?
You can check.
13.
13, there you go. So there you go. So that is the final one of the year. We've got another couple of these, and then we have shows coming back on the week of the 15th of January. So you can look forward to that. Of course, let us know what you thought of these episodes that we talked about in the comments. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mild_fuzz, or more specifically at DC Comics Podcast, which is the specific Comics from the Multiverse Twitter, which of course is very related to this, given it's all DC Comics. And if you want to support the show and support the channel and everything we do here, head over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. You can do that over there. There'll be a link to that in the description, as well as some other useful links. Connor looks like he wants to say something.
Just a last point. Just maybe you're here and you watch, you know, a lot of DC TV, but you don't read any of the comics. If you're watching this, you know, as this is going up, there is a digital sale on Comixology.com.
You meant them. I thought for a second like you were talking to me.
No,
like,
talk to them.
What do you mean? You don't read the comics. We talk about it every week.
You bloody fool. No, anyone who is maybe interested in checking out some comics, but you know you haven't. Now's a pretty good time with a very good sale. You know, you can get some Young Justice stuff. You could get some.
If you have a tablet, or if you even just like have a decent screen to read them on, Comixology is, you know, the place you go for digital comics. And every collection, every trade paperback that DC have ever done basically exists on there is $5. So it's really, really good sale. And Comixology is worldwide as well, so you know, just
pick your region,
pick your currency basically. But yeah, they all sort of map out to about that, and you know, you can try something. So yeah, that is worth mentioning. Everything's really cheap right now. So yeah, and if you've never read a single comic book before in your life, and you want a recommendation of the first thing you should read, Batman: The Long Halloween, go read that. So
why not?
As good as a first one to pick as any. Yeah. Okay, that is us. So thank you once again for watching and listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching DC TV and superhero shenanigans and people in tights and all the other wacky nonsense that comes with it. We'll see you next time, and always remember that sometimes we screw things up for the better.